Alright then everyone, and welcome to one of the fastest circuits on this Season 12 calendar. We are here for round 4 of the NEF1 Championship Season 12 around Albert Park down under in Australia for what will be the first, if I'm not mistaken, hybridish sprint race, oh not hybrid sprint, a hybrid street circuit of this season. We got cars already coming out on circuit, so we'll just have a little look at what's going on. Got two of the that a Cadillac and a Haas coming out on the track. Yes, it is. And Rain 89 is coming out on second. It's Cadillac. I believe it's one of the Haas's of O2 Hazy as well coming out on the circuit then. And is that drops of rain I'm spotting, or is it just debris grass coming up the field? It's just grass and stuff of the sorts. So then a track that apparently not many people are looking forward to. I don't really know why, because it's a very fun circuit. It is a bit tricky and rain as in a wall. Is that the Fernando Alonso? What's going on for Reina here? That'll almost 100% be a disqualification in a little bit for Reina, who, I don't know why he's glitched in a wall like this. Can we have an off-board shot of this? It'll look quite funny. Don't think so. And they're apparently back in control. As to what's happened here, I don't actually know. I'm gonna be careful not get stuck inside the gravel. Found a bit of tarmac, and that should hopefully be Reina back out on the circuit. That was one of the weirdest moments I believe we've ever had in any F1. But it is what it is. On board then with Iwatts and Matty Adam, both drivers in desperate need for a high points paying position here today. Red Bull far behind in the Constructors' Championship battle. This team, however, Racing Bulls with Mr. Wilco and Mackers, is the senior of the Red Bull outfits this season so far, significantly outscoring Red Bull if I'm not mistaken. O2 Hazy's had a decent season as well. He's up to P5 in the championship. Now we'll see how he progresses from there. So an O2 Hazy with that battery, you can see down on 0%, and that is going to be a common occurrence over this session. A lack of battery around this place. It is very battery heavy. Not a lot of places to recharge. The third sector would be basically the one and only. You do need to deploy a little bit around sector 1 as well in order to get that lap time down. So we'll see then. O2 Hazy coming around the final couple of corners. Left-hander followed by the almost flat to flat right-hander depending on the setup. That is the final turn, and down the final straight onto the line is 1:19.466 for O2 Hazy. A decent time to start off with, but we're going to see much faster throughout this session. Ray in his Aston Martin is not particularly happy with. We'll see how he progresses. Mackers is on 1:18.425. The driver that likes this circuit is a driver who is very in form over the course of this season so far. Apparently Reina was having brake pedal problems. Very lucky to get out of the gravel trap there as well and back to it. This is the first time we're on board with a Williams that looks like it actually should do, as it's finally gotten its chassis and livery update. So a little bit of a different look for the Williams here today, significantly better than it looked before. And oh my goodness, Squidge has gone fastest by a full second over Macker's 97. And if Squidge has gone faster than Mackers, that's not unexpected. That he's gone a full second faster, that's worrying. Here we go then, Matty Adam, please give us a fight for pole position that we know you are capable of. Fast for Tess as well. He's coming up to the sector 2 split if I'm not mistaken. Matty Adam puts it in P2, but almost again a full second slower than Squidge. Where is Tess in all of this? He is past the sector 2 split into the final sector now in his blood red Ferrari. See what he's going to be able to do, and behind him is Eli in sector, or E69, sorry, in sector 1, sector 2 that is, sorry. There we go then, Tess runs the final corner in his Ferrari then. What is he going to be able to do under these conditions? It's a 17.789. Closer to Squidge, but not close enough. P2 for him. Undercheck in P3, the man currently sitting in P2 in the championship, the closest contender. E69 is the only driver yet out on circuit and on a fast lap, but has not completed one. So then on to the back straight, and this looks like a decent lap. It's P6 for E69 with a 1:18.677. Where's Reina now? He's out on circuit doing a fast lap. That's just been validated in the second corner. Long way around to go to start another one. An SR Halo looking for his proper good first position of the season. He's not had those massive results as of yet. That was building up to at the end of last season in the 25 cars. Noah 48 in 15th as well, not at time yet. And Iwat's inside the top 10, a 19.179. It's a good time for him. So then here comes Halo onto the final sector. He's in the final sector now, but into the final couple of corners. Third gear throughout that very, very tight and sharp right-hander. Flat out in fifth gear through the subsequent right-hander. Down to probably second or third gear, second on the apex. And then building up through those gears for the final corner and onto the battery. Just power out the final corner, get the best run that you can. It's going to be an 18.9. Only good enough for P10, but it forces Ray and Iwat's outside of that top 10. It's a very, very difficult qualifying session to make any kind of predictions on. Squidge is by far the dominant force at the moment. We'll see how the session progresses. As Noah goes third fastest with a 17.948. It's a very, very good time for him. Matty Adam in the pit lane, not happy with his effort. Mackers in P6, shortly behind in that Racing Bulls. E69 goes very, very deep into the subsequent corner. And where is Reina? Coming around that final sector with a tad of wheel spin. He's been lighting those softs up for a couple of laps now, so you would imagine they'd want some rest. Is he going to complete this lap, or does he go into the pit lane? He actually does complete this lap. We're running out of time in this session, obviously there's a long ways to go, but time is ticking down. Reina manages an 18.7 on that set of tire. Good enough for P9 at the moment. Faster than Spanklos, faster than Beatty, who's hiding in the inside of the chicane, but no cars coming up behind. It's a Ferrari or an Audi coming up behind. You would imagine that's Andre Jack Van. He's not coming up at a rapid pace. Noah's coming into the pit lane. Coming into the pit lane sideways, by the way, and here is Squidge 2017, a man currently on provisional pole position by about 0.3 of a second to improve on his 7. I'll go on board with him for a lap here to just notice everything that he keeps doing and try to replicate it, because this is the man to beat this season. I'll leave you for the rest of the lap. And further of an improvement for Squidge. 1:17.158 is the new time to beat. Matty Adam is about to come across the line. I don't think it's going to be an improvement. It might, though. He improves up to P4 by 2.5 tenths of a second. Still almost a second shy of Squidge. Tess here. What can he do from P2 at the moment? Needs to improve by about 6 tenths of a second. That's not time that's easy to find, but it is doable. And who else have we got out on circuit at the moment? Have we got anyone coming up to the line? We might have a Ray coming up to the line, but he's not on a fast lap. We have a Mackers in the chicane. He's improved by about 2 tenths of a second. He's probably aiming, you would imagine, towards a Noah and a Matty this session. Maybe an on check as well. He's got a lot of traffic coming up ahead of him. Williams, who's obliged to get out of the way, does so before the next corner. Flat, not quite flat through that right-hander. Feels like he's taking it very, very easy around this final sector, but it could be the engine noise as well, mind you. Here comes Mackers powering across the line. Maybe a little bit of a drag from the car ahead. Improves by 2 tenths. Doesn't move up a place. And current champion then, who's not been enjoying these regulational cars as much as the previous one. Here comes Tess. Rounds the final corner. And is about to come across the line for what will be a 17.488. Gets closer, but not close enough. His teammate at the moment on 18.956. He's improving by over 6 tenths of a second in the first sector though. A very, very good sign. Now to see him up around Mack's on-reject territory just completing this lap. This is the kind of pace we want to see from Halo. If he can maintain it around the rest of the lap. Falls back significantly inside that second sector. And now around the third sector, is it so battery reliant that potentially lap time here? Did he maybe just overspend a little bit in the first sector and then it keeps falling off in the second and third sector? A little bit of deployment coming into the third sector, and that is that lap over and done with as he spins out on the infield. Car just behind him, and that is that lap over and done with. That started out decent, ended up in catastrophe. And Noah 48 out on second, and what is going to be his second effort is going to have one more go at this. We got 5 minutes remaining in this session. Noah 48 coming up to the sector 2 split. What is it going to be? He needs to improve by a couple of attempts to get to Tess. He does so, but it doesn't quite improve enough. He needs to find a couple of seconds, or a couple of attempts inside that third and final sector. As BT has almost matched Matty Adam, they're separated by 14 thousandths worth of a second. Very, very close down to on check in P6 as well. There we go then, rounds the final corner with Noah 48. It's a decent exit around the corner indeed. He's going to go a 17.812 here. Not close enough to Tess, but he does bridge the gap to Matty Adam a little bit. Mr. Wilco not improving on this lap, I don't think. No, he isn't. So that is the state of the second run of qualifying. We can see there it's about a 3-second field spread down to Darren in 18th place. iWatts02 Hasty P16 and 17. I believe they were talking previously about not quite liking this circuit, and that is evident looking at their pace. Kits in 14th, Halo in 13th, Spenclose in 12th is a bit of a surprise. Along with them, Reina in 11th. Then the top 10 is E69, Ray, Mr. Wilco, Mackers, Onrechek, BT in 5th, Matty in 4th, Noah in 3rd, Tess in 2nd, and Squidge in 1st. And apparently that lap from Mr. A33 BT was set with a level of wing damage, which, if that's true, that could be a bit intriguing. Keeping an eye out on. Onrechek then needs to improve by a couple of attempts at least. He wants to get up to P3, where he feels like he probably should be with this set of regulations. Had a very, very good season so far as Onrechek, a very, very good return season to NEF1. Mackers as well has been consistently up there, and currently, if I'm not mistaken, is P3 in the standings, with Noah hunting him down. So that's a little battle to keep your eye on. Probably best of the rest. I can't even call it the best of midfield at the moment, because right now you've got drivers like Matty Adam at the moment occupy that midfield. NEF1 part of that midfield at least today. Then we had drivers from last season who are looking very, very strong. We had Halo, for example, who were getting podiums last season. Now he looks not down and out, but has taken a significant step back. We have Ray, who's not looking as good as the last set of regulations. They'll take some getting used to these new cars, that's for sure. Where is Underjack? He's just starting another flying lap then. Also the inside of the circuit slowed down significantly. Maybe do one more out lap then to get the tires properly fired up. Squidge is going to be next to cross the line along with Mackers, who's just started a flying lap. So he needs to improve by about 4/10 of a second in order to make it into P3, which is absolutely doable. He needs a good first sector though, but it doesn't look like he's deploying any of his battery, and this is not going to be a fast lap. It'll be another slow lap surely then. He's not pushing at all, which we can confirm now. 1 second down. Undershick is doing the same. Matty, however, looks to actually be pushing, so thank God for that. We actually have someone doing competitive running at the moment. Everyone else just waiting one more lap for the track to maybe just grip up a little bit better. Over the curb for Matty Adams, going to cost you about a 10th of a second probably. As he comes to the sector split, it's a 26.7. Improves by just a little bit, but not by enough. Squidge then thankfully isn't able to improve anymore through the first 2 sectors. We'll give him another sector to adapt, I'm sure. It's just somehow the way he gets onto the throttle following every single corner is just so solid. It's a shame that we don't have any telemetry for the entirety of this game. I don't know why they've not fixed that. We can't see either throttle or brake inputs because that can tell you quite a bit. I doesn't even want to finish that lap. He feels confident that this is going to be good enough for pole position. The session has ended. Now then, for Matty Adam, he's going to be first across the line. Wouldn't it be fun now if he magically pulled the second out of his ass in the final sector? He doesn't. He actually loses about half a second. He stays at best 4th fastest. Tess here not improving at all through the second sector. How is Ondrejek doing? Improving through the first sector. Where is Mackers in all of this? He's just ahead of Ondrejek, and this is a bad position for Ondrejek to be in. I believe he had to speed up a little bit and get closer to Mackers than he would ideally want to in order to make it across the line at the end there, but he's getting a fuel warning as well. We'll take that with a pinch of salt, but he is improving in that second sector. The problem is he's going to have a face full of Racing Bull very, very soon, who is not obliged or obligated to let him go because he's on a fast lap as well, trying to find time. So this is going to be close. Tess has crossed line. Noah has crossed line. BT has taken 4th place away from Matty Adam. And Ondrejek significantly slower coming out of the final corner. Mackers, what is he going to be able to do? 18 flat, stays 7th fastest. Ondrejek doesn't improve. Mack is 7th fastest, Ondrejek 8th fastest. Ben Close gets into P9, and Ray just scrapes into the top 10 there in the end. BT qualifying in 4th place has to be one of the main highlights of this qualifying session. You just know he'll be about P16 by the time we get to the first corner with his luck these last about, say, 9 seasons at this point. But Squidge, yet another dominant pole position. It is what we can expect. Mercedes domination in real life and in NEF1 here. Squidge 2017 on pole position by over 3/10 of a second. Tess, Noah, Matty and BT, they don't know how to respond to this man. We'll wait and see. By the time we get to the Grand Prix, anything can happen. But we will wait and see what goes on. We are going to go to a little bit of a break before we start this race. We don't want to miss out on that one. It'll be 29 laps of running around this Albert Park circuit. So don't want to miss out on that one. Just stay tuned for a couple of minutes and we'll be right back with you. There we go, everyone. We are back, and hopefully those first couple of words were audible. I'm not sure if they were. But we're about to get going for the Australian Grand Prix. 29 laps worth of racing action is about to commence here around the Albert Park circuit, which can be very, very tricky to race. I'll wait and see. Squidge on pole position then. Not for the first time, won't be the last time. Here we go. Takes pole position from the medium tire test on the hard tires, starting on the right-hand side of the grid. Noah in third. Will work on getting him into the lobby. Has had some kind of issue in the intermittent period. Can't even see him on line at the moment. 833 BT in fourth, might de facto be third place with Noah's issues then. Matty Adam in fifth, followed by Mr. Wilco and Mackers. Undercheck in eighth, followed by Spenclose in ninth. From Reina starting in P... Oh, sorry, not Reina. Ray starting in P10, followed by Reina in 11th. E69 in P12, followed by Halo and iWatt. O2 Hasty, 1980s Wildcat in P16. Followed by Kit and Darren Stahl, both the Williams having some minor issues. Hopefully now, we had a couple of drivers having problems with the force feedback settings and everything being reset after the restart, or after the update that just came out. Hopefully those issues should be all sorted out for everyone now. And there you can see the strategy page, or not strategy page, but the tire page on your left-hand side of your screen, and the majority of the drivers starting on the mediums, apart from Tess, who's doing something different, starting on the hards. Then we have E69, Halo, and iWatts, hard tires as well. Kit's doing something very, very aggressive, starting on a set of soft tires. Darren just a bit wide in the chicane then, trying to get his tires warmed up. Meanwhile, Squidge is, as he always is, very, very calm, very, very collected out front. So here we go then. Squidge lined up on that left-hand side, angled slightly towards the inside, towards Tess to cut him off at the start. Noah in third, A-Beat in fourth, and Matty in fifth is the starting grid. 6 different teams inside that top 6, with an Audi a couple of positions further back lurking as well. It is time to get the Australian Grand Prix underway. What is always a classic here in NEF1. It's lights on, away we go, and it's a good getaway for Squidge in the Mercedes. It's a decent getaway as well for the Ferrari of Tess, who's well past BT by the time we get into the fast corner. And Matty swoops around the outside into P3. Mackers in fourth, and what kind of problem has BT ran into now? He's down in 18th. It's happened again. I swear to God, I said it as a joke the first time out, but it's not a joke this time. A33 BT is down and out in 18th at the moment, trying to get that car flipped round. And is he without front wing as well? I feel so fucking bad for this man, honestly. A majority of the times this season qualifies really well, but has had some sort of a mishap on the start. Matty Adam, 2 positions up on the start. Mackers has had a good start as well, followed by Undercheck and E69, 6 positions up on the opening lap. Whereas Noah, he's 7 positions down, but he's still inside the top 10, battling along with Mr. Wilco and Spenclose. So he's got a recovery job to do by the time this race restarts for him. Darren Stiles had a decent start as well, up 6 places, past an iWatts, past a Wildcat, Noah and BT as well. So Darren was one of the drivers who was having game issues previously. Now evidently seems to work a little bit better for him, as he's reached P11 here in the opening lap of this Grand Prix. Squidge has not been able to check out in front though. He's followed closely by Test, and Matt is a second back, with Mackers hunting him down. That'll be a little bit of an interesting battle, Matty and Mackers. 2 old heritage drivers in NEF1, followed by Undercheck, one-time NEF1 champion, E69, also back since season 1 even, so it's a long time ago now. But that must be some sort of front wing damage, it looked like from Eli there, from E69. I keep saying Eli, sorry. The way his car was understeering through that corner, it looks like his front wing is actually intact. It's just a massive amount of understeer that he got through that corner. Check the chicane is significantly better. Where is Noah now? In control of his car in 14th place, qualified in P3. He's got a hell of a recovery job to do. Iwat in 13th, and he's quickly approaching, was that O2 Hasey? Yes, it was, down the inside of the Haas into the braking zone, and that position is reclaimed. We have Darren in P11, will be the next target of the Red Bull. Spenclose is significantly ahead of Darren Style in P10. The top 10 has begun to break away as Mackers tries to make it past Matty Adam. He does so successfully to begin with. Matty, though, with a little bit of a switchback comeback move round the outside at turn 2, and he takes P3 back. And then we have Undercheck in the background as well, keep him in mind inside this little battle. But the battle for P1 not really turned into a battle yet, but still within striking distance of Squidge. If a mistake is made, still within overtaking range as well. We have Undercheck lurking about 3 tenths back from Mackers at the moment, who is recharging his battery. He's coming up on Matty Adam. He's going past Matty Adam. Might Undercheck just have a little go at them both? No, but he does have a go with Matty Adam. Falls back to 5th place. C69 falling back on that little battle at the moment. 1.5 seconds behind as Ray might just have a little go at him down the inside into that harsh braking zone. And the inside should be king for this next subsequent corner. E69 tucks in behind Ray, who is up into 6th place. And where is he beating all of this? 14.4 seconds back now on a new set of mediums, I believe. No, he's on a new set of mediums. Oh, he's had a poor start beating there. He's had a very, very poor start. So is Mr. Wilco. Both very, very unfortunate in the situation that they're in. Matty Adam might have a little go at Undercheck here down the inside. Very, very close between the Red Bull and the Audi. Can't quite get the overtake done on that occasion. Undercheck comes back aggressively towards the outside of the circuit. Almost cuts Matty off a little bit too much for my liking there, but just conscious enough to give Matty that little bit of room on the outside to work with. And Undercheck is up at 4th place now. Mackers in 3rd, trying to check out from this little battle. But he's been left behind, and Tess has also been left behind. My golly, Squidge 2 seconds in front already, and we have a yellow flag. I don't know for what. I do not know for what. Noah's doing a decent recovery job at the moment. He's got 3.5 seconds up to Spenclose now, which he can absolutely do. And then a little bit of a train up to Ray, his teammate in 6th. So I'm sure is going to try helping his teammate out a little bit here. Aston Martin desperately need Constructors' points as well. Could be in a championship battle here if they play their cards correctly. Djokovic not present this week either, and that is costing Audi big time in the Constructors' Championship fight at the moment, that they could be leading. Djokovic been there last week and this week. He's not been, and now Undercheck is doing the heavy lifting all by himself. Right now, that Constructors' Championship being led by Mercedes. Squidge and Spenclose then. Most of the points angled towards Squidge, but a couple of points being brought home by Spenclose as well. So such is the point distribution towards most of the top teams so far, but we're only 3 races into the season, in the middle of our 4th one at the moment, as Mackers is catching up the back of Tess, and these two had a little bit of beef with each other, if I'm not mistaken, back in Silverstone for round 1. I believe there's a couple of occasions where something happened on that final lap, so we'll keep an eye on that. Matty Adam has had a problem in the 3rd sector, and he is down and out. Not down and out, but he's down in 13th place, full front wing. Has he had a massive lockup? Has he had a spin, or what's gone on for Matty Adam there? I know he was having issues before this race, potentially with his leg, so it might be related to that. Now we're going to see the first retirement of the race here. Matty Adam coming into the pit lane to box for a set of hard tires. Is retirement going to follow, or is he trying to adapt his strategy? E69, 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. I believe Matty Adam adapting his strategy there a little bit, going on to a set of hard tires, trying to do something different. What he's going to do, I don't yet know. But Matty also having a very, very difficult season. E69 has left the session. We'll work on getting him back then. Just gonna pop him a little invite really quick. There we go, as Noah now is making progress. He was 3.5 behind Spenclose a lap ago. He's now 3.1 behind Spenclose. And where is... Oh, Halo's actually caught up in this battle a little bit. Obviously, Matty losing control of his car would have helped. He's up to P6 at the moment, but with a time penalty. As E69 back into the lobby. Here we go then. Mackers on Tess, and this battle could be heating up over the next couple of laps. Whilst the medium tire is still viable against the hard that Tess is on. Keep that in mind. Right now, Mackers with a distinct pace advantage over the Ferrari. So then, round the first sector, Mackers closing in on the Ferrari ahead of him. Switch is checked out, 3 seconds in front. And he is absolutely controlling the narrative of this race and this championship. It's a battle for P2, P3 at the moment. And Check has lost out a lot of time in that battle as well. He get entangled with something potentially with Matty, I don't know. As Tess very, very aggressively defends the inside there. Doesn't want Mackers to have any sort of opportunity to dive it down the inside. Under braking. Is that Tess's biggest problem with these cars potentially? Under braking, it looks like, and keep this traction and everything in play here as well. It looks like there is, that's where Mackers is gaining most of his time. Look through turn 1 now. It's a very, very gradual braking zone, but Mackers is just closing in a little bit under the braking phase, so he's able to maintain. He should be at a downforce loss compared to Tess as well, running in his dirty air. And here, red lights are flashing. He just closes in a little bit. Tess locks up, goes deep. He's just able to cover that off, but he's put under heavy pressure here from Mackers. He might be trying to force his way by within the next couple of corners. As we are on lap 8 out of 29 here under a sunset sky at Albert Park. Mackers on Tess then is now the time for the move to happen. Going into the chicane, I don't think Max really fancies it as of yet. How is Tess doing in defense? As the active arrow opens on the next straight, Max is not going to be able to get anywhere close. But I think Max at the moment is relatively comfy sitting behind Tess. Being dragged along, he's not going to be fighting for the lead. He knows that unless anything happens. And just wearing Tess down a little bit, I think suits Max quite well at the moment. We've got a yellow flag, and that was E69 having a problem around that very, very sharp right-hander. To get by Darren Style, who you would imagine is without a front wing. Yes, he is. So I think they've had some sort of contact. As to what exactly happened, I don't yet know. And here we go, Mackers and Tess side by side with each other for the briefest moment there. You saw a position switch. Tess emerging victorious in that little battle to begin with. E69, 3-second time penalty, multiple track limit warnings. Racked up a couple of those, and BT's making progress. Is back up to 13th place. Ahead of Matty Adam, after both of them, I believe, have made a pit stop. Or did BT make a pit stop, actually? No, he didn't. So he actually didn't have any damage from that, as Mackers has now emerged in front of Tess as well. He's up to P2 now. Let's see how Tess is going to be able to respond to that over the next couple of laps. Spenclose is on the back of Tess's teammate as well, but he's been for a little bit of time. No one not really catching up as Halo goes well off the circuit, and that is going to give both Spenclose and Reina another free position there. So Spenclose is up into P6, started this race in 9th place. But Ray, yes, we go on board with him as a problem around the final corner, and that is a full safety car. That'll neutralize this race significantly, and that's the type of issue you don't want to have coming out of the final corner. Just too aggressive on that accelerated pedal into the wall, front wing gone and broken. Ray is now at a massive disadvantage. He'll have to complete a full lap. Is he going to get held behind the safety car? Is he going to be allowed to pass it? Because he'll need to replace that front wing. Crucially enough for him, the timing of this is not actually awful. He might be able to bolt on a set of hard tires and go to the end here. I should say this is awful timing if you are Tess. Stuck on a hard tire, you can't pit yet. It's way too early. If you're a Mackers who just overtook him, however, you go into the pit lane now. You've got nothing to lose. Well, you've got a P2 to lose. But you go into the pit lane, you bolt it out of hards on, you try to make it to the end. Squidge is absolutely going to be able to do the same, or he's going to be forced to do the same. Meanwhile, Tess is going to be behind you. He's going to be on a worn set of hard tires by the restart. He's probably not going to be able to push you too hard, and he will have to pit in about 7 laps. He won't want to, but he'll have to. Depending on if he doesn't want to be locked onto a 2-stop strategy. If you put some medium set of tires on, those aren't going to last 20 laps. No way, surely. No way. We've seen a couple of punctures this season already, affecting both the Cadillacs, I believe it was, back in Britain. So we're going, yeah, there you can see the blood-red Ferrari of Tess staying out here, while Squidge and Mackers both coming in. Undercheck is coming in. Spenclose is coming in. So it's a short-term win for Tess. He'll be in the lead of the Grand Prix at the restart. He might be able to just mess with Squidge a little bit. I'm sure he wouldn't mind that. And I believe Halo staying out there as well. So it's a Ferrari duo, both on the hard tires, to be fair, staying out. Is Halo now around the first couple of laps? He's going to try to back up Squidge as much as he can. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see if he actually can do that. Ray is going to be coming out of the pit lane. It's not been a terrible loss for him. He's down in 10th place, but with a decent strategy and a new front wing. That's all right for Ray, actually. Matty now confirmed to be outside the points once again in 11th. So Matty Adams is having a horrible race at the moment. Wildcat P12 is a decent position for him. Might be able to have a sniff at the points here. Wait and see. What are these time penalties? 3 seconds for a couple of drivers, 6 seconds for E69. With a late safety car, that would absolutely screw you over. With a safety car at about lap 11, lap 12, that's actually okay. But I'll have to build a big gap to the cars behind. You can see most people who have been into the pit lane have come in for a set of hard tires, opposed from iWatts actually come onto a set of medium tires. Did he start on the hards then, perhaps, at iWatts? Yes, he did, but he's basically forced himself onto a 2-stop strategy van. But the odds that we have another safety car this race is actually quite big. So we'll wait and see. We've still got a lot of racing to do. Lap 12 out of 29. We're about a little over a third way through this Grand Prix, so there's a lot of stuff that can still happen. I'm sure Squidge would have preferred to just run this race 29 laps at a... or 29 laps, no interruptions at all, and be able to cruise home to a victory. Now he's got a little work to do. It'll be very, very interesting to see actually what Mac is going to be able to do now when he's going to try to follow Squidge around. Mackers, he's had pace, and I do really think at some point this season he could win a race. I don't know if he will, but he could. He does have the potential to do so. The question is, will he be able to find that pace? Macker's 97, one of the most improved drivers over the course from last season to this one. Keep in mind, we've got a couple of sprint races coming up in the next couple of weeks as well. Go over the calendar once we're done with these proceedings. But that could throw a couple of spanners in the works as well. Ondrejek in P5, done one-time winner this season. The only man to beat Squidge across a race so far. As there we go, safety car in this lap. That's a very, very late message. Oh, that is harsh on Tess. He's going to be able to do basically nothing on this restart, barring starting in a straight line. This has put him in a disadvantage. It's put Halo in a massive disadvantage as well. Ooh, and it's a bad restart for Tess as well, who lights up the race. And now Halo is going to be straight on and not going to try to overtake him. Such is the nature of having your teammate behind you. However, Squidge is going to be trying to get right by Halo, you would imagine, as quick as possible, in order to maybe dispatch Markers a little bit as well. O2 Hasey and Aphid Rebeta both been given 10-second time penalties for ignoring yellow flags, and I'm sure that'll be investigated after the race. If those penalties still apply after the race, they can be removed, so I'm sure those will both be sent in for investigation there. You would imagine it's overtaking under yellow flags, which we'll wait and see on. But here comes Squidge on Halo. Tess sticks to the inside, and that could be very, very dangerous in terms of a situation, but it all ends up okay. But here comes Squidge again on Tess. Pulls to the inside to defend. Is he going to be able to do anything about it? Squidge on the outside, Tess on the inside. Tess wants to give Squidge absolutely nothing more than he has to. Ondrejek forces his way up to third place, and Mackers slightly losing control of his car there in the background, but he just survives that onslaught. Spenclose tries round his outside into the final corner. I think Mackers getting the slightly better exit of the two. Spenclose versus Mackers here, and Spenclose has come alive on this safety car restart, I'll tell you that. Squidge and Tess still battling round the first corner. It's aggressive, and they keep running into the back of each other as well. Squidge, with a bit more battery to play with, is doing everything he can to get out in front as things keep popping off. Spenclose now down 14th, 15th place. Must have had a problem potentially with Mackers, and Reina behind. Iwat is up to P6. He is the lead of the Red Bulls. You wouldn't have expected that after qualifying. And now then, Squidge is going to have another go at Tess here, who is pulling off a defensive masterclass, or potential defensive masterclass, depending on how you view it, if you're Squidge or not, I'm sure. But here we go, then on the check on Tess as well. They run into the back of each other. Tess falls down a couple of positions, and here comes some Reina on the Ferrari as well. Down the inside into the next corner. Ondrejek is now up at P2, and he is not too far behind Squidge as we start, or as we end lap 14 and start 15. Marcus in third and Reina in fourth, and Tess is falling backwards in fifth place. Iwat's now, former teammate, is coming up behind him, and now there'll be no love lost between the two, but we do have quick neutralization here. Virtual safety car, that is Kit, who has found the outside or inside wall past the turn 9-10 chicane there in the middle of lap 14, and that has briefly triggered a virtual safety car. I hope it doesn't pull over into full one. However, if you're a Tess, I'm sure you wouldn't mind it too. Or for this to drag on a little bit so he could get into the pit lane. The test then, it was a good initial opening lap on the restart as Kit's retired in the middle of the session there in the pit lane. Has had enough of this race. Test then, it was a bad initial restart for the Ferrari. Reclaimed that a little bit in the next couple of corners. Defended hard against Squidge for longer than I thought he was going to be able to. I think we're just about to go back to green flag, so you can see everyone starting to speed up a little bit, trying to thread that delta as close as they can. Then something happened to Tess after about a lap or two. The tires, I don't know if they started heating up, I don't know if he ran out of battery. And Squidge, Undercheck, Max and Rain all take advantage of their newer hard tire. And how much longer is that virtual safety car going to stay out? There we go, race control, green flag, normal race modes are restored. The Squidge then rounds the final corner for the 15th time, with Undercheck about half a second behind him. Max in P3 and Reina in 4th place. And has anyone had a particularly good restart? Noah being pressured by E69 there. Matty in 10th place in his Red Bull, followed by Wildcat. Halo, 3 second time penalty, multiple limit warnings. And Wildcat got a very, very bad exit coming out of the second turn, and now very much on the back of a BT. Feels like a lot of cars getting weird exits all over the place around this one. As here we go, iWatts on Test, and might not be anything Test can do about this one. He's going to try to defend on Ray, as now we have another virtual safety car, and that is a result of a BT finding a wall once again on the, and that's a front wing gone for a Fat-free BT. Could that be potentially changed to a full safety car? We'll wait and see. But now then surely is the time for Tess to dive into the pit lane along with a Star Halo, if he's not already been there. I don't think so. But now surely would be the moment. I don't think you're going to get a better one unless this is upgraded to a full safety car. But Tess decides to commit then. Spen closes out of this session, but he's not out of the race. We'll work on getting him back. There we go then, as Tess is bolted on a set of medium tires with about 13 laps left to go. It'll be a long stint for him, but he should be able to make that work. Yes, that's a perfect pit stop for Tess, to be fair. It's a couple of seconds behind the pack now. We can start chasing him down on a better tire, and as soon as he came out of the pit lane then we went back to green flags, as Halo suffered a little bit more in the pit lane on over amount. And Undercheck, 3 second time penalty, multiple track limit warnings, and I'm sure both Mackers and Reina are going to be loving that. iWatts as well here is looking good for a strong finish. Ray and Noah, the 6 and 7, both of these drivers have had various problems through this session. Right now we're overcoming it very, very strongly, this Aston Martin team at the moment. And currently running 5th and 7th. That is 16 points on the board if they can keep that up. Undercheck now has fallen over a second behind, which means unfortunately we're going to see that checkout from Squidge once again. There we go then, markers on Undercheck. Now for the first time this race, won't be the last time in this race. And Reina lurking there in the background as well. So then, Mackers on Undercheck, and I think this is going to be relatively simple for him. Around the outside into the relatively long left-handed bend before turn 9 and turn 10. And Mackers is up into P2, and I don't know how much Undercheck is going to fight this now, or if you just try to follow and build a gap. We've got about 10 laps to go, and he's got to mind the gap down to Ray and Noah particularly, and E69 iWatts as well. That is the gap that you've got to be looking at if you're an Undercheck, to not lose too many positions, and you're not helping yourself by committing to a load of battles there. come the end of the Grand Prix. Macker's 1.1 seconds behind. I don't think he'll be able to catch the back of Squidge. But you never know. If Squidge makes mistakes or two, we might have a race out of this. Macker's definitely one of the most impressive drivers so far this season. As O2 Hazy's out of race in the pit lane once again. So then Squidge has now checked out a little bit, 1.5 seconds from Mackers, Undercheck not being able to sustain that pressure. We'll just look at the tab. So right now, if you add on 3 seconds to Undercheck, that's 5.5. Takes him to just ahead of Noah, so we'll drop to P5 at the moment, Undercheck, if the race was to end now. So to Hazy's out of this race, then that opens up the battle for the top 10 a little bit more. I thought O2 Hazy was maybe going to try to get that time completely removed, but such is not the case. As Wildcat at the moment running inside the points in P10. Test trying to catch up. He's 5.8 seconds back on Close and just trying to make that gap up in about 10 laps. It's going to be difficult. Darnstyle running along in 13th. Matty Adam in 14th. How did his race get this bad? 14th place. I don't think it's ever happened that he's finished outside the points in 2 consecutive NEF1 races, but it might just happen today. SR Halo in 15th, BT in 16th. We're seeing a paradigm shift here in NEF1 where Mackers, Undercheck and Ray, they're starting to take the place at the moment this season of Tess and Matty Adam as regular podium sitters, especially Mackers and Undercheck. Undercheck was expected when he came back into League 3B fighting at the front or close to the front. E69 is out of race and in the pit lane again. That is the 3rd driver we've had retire in the pit lane this race, which is far from ideal. But both Tess and Matty struggling massively with these new regulations worth of cars. Darren Style in P12 then. That's opened up another spot inside the points here. That's occupied by Wildcat at the moment. 3 second time penalty applies. Tess coming up behind him though, 2 seconds as Halo is now out of this session again in the pit lane. For crying out loud. We're down to 14 runners this race now, which is becoming a race of attrition. As then Mackers is checked out from Undercheck behind. 2 seconds the gap, 1.2 seconds the gap between Imrena and Undercheck. Imrena at the moment on course for a podium finish here. Both the Aston Martins are not going to interrupt each other with any type of battling, even if Noah's catch the back of Ray at the moment. They need to run in formation and help each other as long as they can. Ray could be on course for a podium here if he's able to get Imrena to be his first podium of the season. I Watts looking good, P7 at the moment ahead of Mr. Wilco, Close and Wildcat. Tess might just be able to scrape a point or two together in this race as well. Fastest lap point at the moment as well goes to Matty Adam for the time being. So he's able to conjure something out of this Grand Prix. Yes, there goes Ray by Imrena into the chicane, a place that we normally don't see any overtaking, but it's become a regular overtaking spot on this circuit on this particular edition of the game with these regulations. San Marino now down to 5th place, still a very, very respectable result, but that's got to be frustrating with the podium in reach. I don't feel like he's going to be able to keep a sustained challenge up on the rail. We'll wait and see. There's still about 6 laps to go here before the checkered flag drops. Spenclose is trying to put Mr. Wilco under pressure, but that free second time penalty might just come back to bite him a little bit towards the end as well. Needs to get by now to start building a little bit of a gap, but it's not quite close enough to make a move down the inside of turn 1, which is not an overtaking opportunity at this circuit in most cases. This, however, is, as that's a mental closing speed at the end there, with Spenclose going very, very deep, and is he going to be able to make that work? We have another yellow flag, and that is Amrena, who has dropped back a little bit. This is helping Undercheck out a little bit, but Amrena has lost down a podium place and now might be finishing in 6th here over the course of a lap. Iwatts is nowhere close to challenging him. If anything, Iwatts might just have to start looking over his shoulder for Mercedes coming up on his back. Spenclose, there he goes, a little deep into the penultimate corner, and that's going to set him back on his quest to break away from Mr. Wilco. Wildcat then closing up on the back of Mr. Wilco as well for what could be his first points finish of the season. He needs to, it's that free second time penalty that is going to harm his chances here. Because here comes Tess, who is aiming for at least 1 point in this race. Matty Adam then in P12, 12 seconds behind in that Red Bull. What was meant to be a triumphant season maybe for Matty in that Red Bull, in which he won the championship back in Season 2. It's definitely not turning out that way for the time being, is it? The man who has the man who has won a race in every season bar one, if I'm not mistaken, Season 3. That's still 11 out of 12 seasons he's won a race in, but that could prove tricky for him if he doesn't make a massive improvement over the rest of this season. We'll wait and see. It's still a long way to go. Not even a quarter done with this season quite yet. Mackers then is completely checked out from Undercheck in P2. Squidge is checked out from Mackers with a couple of laps left to go. Ray, however, is looking good for a podium place here, and if he could slow down Undercheck a little bit in the process and get Noah up in 4th place as well, I'm sure the Aston Martin lads will take that result any day of the week. As Wildcat, now that was Tess and Mr. Wilco, sorry, gets very close to making contact on the exit of that turn. Tess is now up to P9 and chasing down Spenclose for 8th place, and then he might actually be able to get all the way up to 7th as well. That will be a much needed couple of points for Tess here. He's able to make that work. He might just actually be able to take Iwatts for another position here. He runs out of battery halfway down the straight, if I'm not mistaken. He's not going to be able to do it on this occasion. Iwatts in P8 at the moment, Tess in 9th. There we go, using the little battery he has left to pull himself alongside, down the inside. Maybe Iwatts isn't going to leave him too much on the inside, and Tess has to stay behind for the time being. Spenclose has gone ahead into 7th place, but now is the question as well, is how much are Iwatts and Tess going to battle each other? We've got 3 seconds to Spenclose to consider. Ray has been able to break into P3. Now is the question, is he going to back up Undercheck just that little bit with that 3 second time pump and make sure Noah does get that on penalties as well? Very well could be so. It's what I would do, and I think it's what they will do. It's a bit unsportsmanlike, but it's a team game. Unfortunately, Undercheck has been abandoned by his teammate for this week, so he's not going to be able to get that same level of support. And you can just see Undercheck is doing everything he can now to break ahead of Ray, because he knows exactly what's coming. Ray can just sit behind Undercheck for the remainder of this race. It doesn't matter, he'll take that position anyways on that penalty. Such is the advantage that Ray has got at the moment. Undercheck, though, can't afford to sit behind Ray, because then he'll lose another position and finish this race in P5. And it's 5-point swing, the difference between P3 and 5, from 15 down to 10 points. It is very on the edge here between Undercheck and well, let me tell you that it keeps sitting at about exactly 3 seconds, depending on a tenth or two of a swing. Tez has been able to get out ahead of Iwat, and now we'll see if he's able to get ahead of Spenclose. He doesn't need to on circuit, but these are races that want to finish ahead of each other regardless, just to make a little bit of a statement. It's actually been a decent recovery from Tez as well. Spenclose locks up. That is going to see Tess, and Tess and Spenclose make slight contact there. I'm not sure quite what went on, but Tess and Spenclose making contact in the middle of the first sector. It's been a good recovery from Tess, though. I thought he was maybe going to be in a position where he wasn't able to score a point this week. He's going to end up scoring about 6 of them potentially, depending on fastest lap and whatnot. Ray passed Undercheck once again. I'm sure he's just going to slow down a little bit coming out of the subsequent corners. We've got 2 laps to go of the Australian Grand Prix. Squidge is dominating it by 5 seconds at this point. As we were going, I think Undercheck is realizing what's happening. Noah now 1.3 seconds behind. Ray not... I don't think he's trying to push away really, but he's leaving Undercheck a little bit behind here. Undercheck might just have run out of steam regardless. We'll have a look at the tire graph. 18 lap old hard tires, they'll be done basically. 18 lap old medium tires for Iwat and Mr. Wilco. That could actually be a little bit of an intrigue over these next 2 laps, whether those actually survive the rest of this race. Is cutting it very, very close. Wilco might just still be able to snatch a point away from this race, should there be a massive, massive fall off here. Gonna try to get by Mr. Wilco. Needs to get by on this straight and maybe, just maybe try to break away, but his tires, believe, in a significantly better state, you would imagine, than those medium tires. And just goes a little bit deep in the chicane, has to budge out. That's probably the end of that challenge for Wildcat. Wasn't able to slingshot around the way he wanted to, just ran out of grip. 18 lap all mediums, you wouldn't have expected that. And I wonder what Tess would have been able to do if he tried to do the same strategy here, as Undercheck just tries to salvage a bit of pride going past Ray here at the first turn of final lap. He's going to want to finish this race in P3. So is Ray for his first podium of the season. An Aston Martin team who at one point this session, it's gone awful for them both. Ray spinning in the final corner, triggering the first virtual safety car of this race. Noah with some sort of a connection issue before the race meant he went from P3 at the start to somewhere along lap P14, somewhere along those notes. But he's recovered beautifully. It's going to be P3 and P4 for Aston Martin, who strike back in the Constructors' Championship, and they do it with force as well. It's a brilliant race for the pair of them. But Squidge, the man, is absolutely unbeatable in these regulations of cars, and it's going to make it 3 out of 4 wins this season. It's Mercedes domination once again, and Squidge 2017 wins the Australian Grand Prix. Mackers with another podium this season, is doing an excellent job in that Racing Bulls. Undertech is going to come home to finish third on the road, but with a 3-second time penalty, it's the first podium of the season for Ray, and it's a P4 for Noah. He'll be very, very satisfied with that effort. Tess in the end actually gets past Emreina as well. P6 in the end for the Ferrari man for a decent points haul. Emreina finishes in 7th place. He'll be disappointed with that as to where he was about 10 laps ago. Spenclose finishes in 8th. Iwat with a couple of points there in 9th, and Mr. Wilco just coming across in P10 ahead of Wildcat. But with that strategy, it was not quite clear. Matty, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong on this. I believe it finishes outside the points for the second time in a row. For the first time in NEF1 history. I don't think it's ever really happened. It would have been season 1 if it did, you would imagine. But Matty really, really struggling at the moment. Darren Style in 13 wasn't able to get a points finish out of this package. NEF1 BT with his usual luck, you would imagine, fastest lap there in the end for a point. Snatched away from Matty to add insult to injury. But again, it is domination for the man who is leading the championship. And it's difficult to call a championship after only 4 races. But I cannot see anyone catching up to the extent where they'll be able to overtake him and stay ahead. Squidge is dominant in these cars, maybe to an extent that we haven't really seen before. We'll wait and see. As there we go, then you can see A33 BT with a 1:19.237 in the end, just speeding up Matty to that fastest lap point. Squidge wins the race from P1, Mackers up from P7, Ray up from P10. His good recovery drives throughout the field. Good race for Iwas as well, started 14th, finished 9th. Decent field spread overall. No one lapped, however. A33 BT was very, very close to it in the end. But Squidge brings home another 25 points to his championship campaign, and there is no stopping that man right now. As we are moving on to the next stage of the season, next week, for the first time ever, we are heading to the streets of Madrid for the Mad Ring for the first time in NEF1, and that is going to be a very, very different type of race than what we've seen maybe before in NEF1. It's a very, very different style of circuit. You do not want to miss out on that one. Thank you ever so much for watching this rendition of NEF1. Round 4 of the championship has concluded. Squidge emerges victorious once again. We will see you in 7 days' time when NEF1 returns. Until then, have a good one, stay safe, and peace out.